This is the Boot Room YouTube, and I'm with Premier League icon Emile Heskey. Now, you obviously played with some of the best strikers around in your playing days. Who was your favourite strike partner or your favourite strike partners?
Favourite strike partner is obviously Michael Owen. Played with him from a very, very young age. I was 18, he was 16 at the time, playing for England. So we struck up a partnership, understanding, and it just went from strength to strength and came to Liverpool, England. Yeah, and just blossomed from there.
Did you always know he was going to be special from an early age then, as soon as he started coming through?
Yeah, definitely. We obviously we all hear about players from a young age, and I think we were hearing about Michael from about the age of 14 or 15.
Wow.
Yeah, they were playing England schools, and he was playing a year above. So we were all hearing about him, and then obviously he was 16, and he came to our England under 18s, and that's when I first got to see him up close and personal. And he was a phenomenal player, to be honest. Yeah,
because obviously yours and Michael's probably best spell for England came under Sven at the start.
Yeah.
What was it like playing under Sven? Because he was seen as quite a laid-back character, and then you compare to Capello, who was obviously the complete opposite.
Yeah, look, I think at the time it was great because, again, we didn't need that dictator within the change rooms. We had enough players that could take care of themselves. We had the Beckhams and Scholeses and people like that. So I thought Sven was really good tactically as well. So it was great for the group that we had at the time.
What was it like under Capello in contrast? What was the atmosphere like around the 2010 World Cup, for example?
I think, you know what it was? I think a lot of it was the times were changing. So I came in very young, where it was the manager says it like this and it goes like this, and the manager tells you to, and then you go and do it. Whereas fast forward, we're starting to discuss a little bit more, and we're starting to have a little bit more open discussions about tactics and how to set up and what we want to do during the day, or whatever it is. And I don't think Capello was one of those players that one of those managers or coaches that wanted to hear the players say anything. They just you do as you're told, and it was just a changing of times. Because I'd been in that already from a young age, I could adapt to both. But I know some players probably couldn't adapt.
Right. So what sort of manager did you prefer playing under? Was it the more relaxed type, or the ones who would be very rigid in their discipline?
More relaxed.
Right.
Again, you get more out of players when you're more relaxed, I think. Well, definitely me. And players that can give a little bit of input as well. Because, again, we're on the pitch. At times, you've got to solve a puzzle that the manager might not have thought of. So you've got to be able to do it yourself as well. So not just always telling them what to do, allowing them to actually solve something as well.
Yeah. And Steve Bruce, who is your former manager at Birmingham and Wigan, he's seen as very good with his man management. The players seem to get on really well with him. How do you think he's doing at Newcastle? Do you think he gets maybe a little bit too much stick from some sections of the fans?
Yeah, he will never be right for some sections of fans. I'm guessing because even though he's a Newcastle fan, I think it's because of his time at Sunderland.
Yeah, it doesn't help.
Yeah, and then as well, Rafa did so well. And the fans loved him that much. He did. Obviously, they didn't want him to go. And then whoever came after Rafa was going to have a very, very tough time. But he's done very well.
Yeah.
You know, considering he hasn't really had tons of money to spend. And I'll be honest, I don't think they have a full say in who gets bought and who gets sold.
Yeah.
So considering that he's a coach, not a manager, because a manager dictates who's coming in and out. A coach just does what he does on the training field.
Yeah.
So I think now he's a coach more than a manager. I think he's done phenomenal.
And one player Newcastle have bought, obviously, Joe Linton, who hasn't set the world alight, let's just say. How do you think Bruce can get the best out of him?
Good question. Until you see him on the training pitch, I don't know, to be honest with you. Again, it's getting the confidence of, because again, he scored goals in, where was he? Was he in Germany or something?
Yeah, Hoffenheim.
Yeah, he scored goals there. So I'm guessing he's got it in him. But again, it's getting the confidence to go out and there and do it week in, week out in the Premier League, which is the pressures are totally different, and he hasn't managed to do that as of yet. But again, I think getting them goals, I think he scored one, which was a tap-in, and then no, he scored one which was a difficult goal, and then the tap-in ones he misses.
Yeah.
And that's just confidence. That's just confidence, concentration. I think he just needs to concentrate a little bit harder and get them chances in. And once the fans get on his side, that's amazing up in the especially up in the northeast.
Yeah.
Obviously there's no fans in the stadium there now, but once they go back and they get on his side, there's nothing better at times when especially their crowd, they're so loud.
Yeah.
And so passionate that it's great.
Yeah. One place the fans were definitely on your side was when you were in Australia for that brief spell.
Yeah,
and there was the whole Heskey Cam thing, wasn't it? Where they had a camera training you for the entire game. Yeah. What on earth was that like? It must have been bizarre.
Do you know the funny thing is, you don't know, obviously.
You don't know,
No, you just go and play.
Right.
You just go and play, and then it's like your mates are telling you, there's a camera following you all game. I'm like, what? I'm just hoping I didn't pick my nose or start spitting all over the place or whatever.
So would you recommend maybe going out to Australia for other players? Is it
definitely.
a great experience?
I thought it was a great experience, especially for myself. And it was different in the sense that it was a different period of time for myself. And they had a lot of young players who were wanting to absorb as much information from me about playing in the Premier League or playing abroad or whatever. And it was great because, again, they're learning. They're on a different scale to me. Like... I still speak to someone, Scotty Neville's now at Brisbane. So I still speak to a lot of them and just keep in touch in that sense. A lot of them, some of them have gone. Adam Taggart's now in Korea.
Right.
Yeah, he's in Korea. He went to Fulham, came to Fulham for a little bit, then went back, and then now he's in Korea doing very well. Mark Birighitti. He went over to England and Holland, and now I think he's back in Australia. Right. But yeah, they all just they love the football, so they all just want information and absorbing information. And if you can give some back, it's great.
I'm sure you gave out plenty of advice at Soccer Aid as well recently. What was that like? Who stood out for you in Soccer?
I loved it. They wanted me. They've been asking me to play for a while, and this was obviously the opportunity to get there now and play. And I thought it was brilliant. It's great to be around the comedians and all that. You're all forever laughing. But Kelly Smith, I was super impressed with her.
Yeah.
One with the ability of her, and then two with the dedication. Yeah. Because after every training, she was warming down. She was going on the bike, and I'm like. I never did one more down at all.
So is there any celebrities that you think maybe you could just possibly sneak in at a decent level?
Well, Philly scored. Young Philly scored, didn't he?
Yeah.
So I think he could possibly. But it's funny because you look at young Philly, he looks ripped and he looks in good shape, but then you go and put him on a pitch, he's blowing. But again, it's totally different fitness as well.
Yeah, yeah.